if anyone can hear me, that would be wonderful. Just to check the mic if there is anyone there. If there isn't, I don't blame you, to be honest. Unprofessional is a word I'd use, annoying is another. And made a sensible decision and decided go and have a glass of wine or a beer or and maybe a cup of tea. I don't think anyone can hear me, can they? I've got 7 people and you're echoing, my dude, and that makes no sense to me whatsoever. And maybe if I do this. No, Cortana, what on earth are you? Shh, Cortana, stop. Troubleshooting stream. Yeah. I just showed you it's coming up as well. How do we fix an echo? How do we fix an echo? So obviously not in Discord, so it's in Twitch Studios, right? So let's have a look at settings. If anyone knows how to use Twitch Studio Beta, now would be a lovely time to give you a little bit of info on that. And default mic, there's that one. And default speakers. Yeah. I've got my PC sound is on mute completely. Yeah, speakers my headphones. Yeah, because it's like we're doing a test at the moment. Thanks very much for jumping in, mate. Why am I echoing? Mic's not that near to me. Not that on. Unplug in. Oh, hello. We got a sound there. Save. Oh, hello everyone. I sound great. Ooh, this is exciting news. I just want to say thank you everyone for sticking with me. Let's call Dirjel. Let's see what's going on there. Let me get back in the call because I've got lots I want to talk about tonight, which is 90% the Omegaverse. Hi. I can hear you. I sound nice on the stream. And can the stream hear? Yeah. Can you hear Dirjel? Can the stream hear Dirjel? No Dirjel yet. That's okay. That's okay. We've got half of it. So let's do exactly that, but we're going to put it on that one. What do you... Yeah. Could you hear that cough? Dirjel, what do you know about wilders and furries? Furries, not fairies. Can you hear Dirjel now? No, we still can't hear Dirjel. That's okay. Ooh.
I talk usually.
Okay, this looks like it might now be working. I think I might have. Oh! We've got.
Hi, Quitla.
There's a sound.
Hi, Grim.
We made it.
We made it.
Only took 27 minutes, but we got there.
A hint of Dirjel.
There's a hint of Dirjel. I can fix a hint of Dirjel very, very easily. We can do this. Yeah, I can boost that. I can go into Discord.
I can be more loud.
I can just boost the stuff. There we go.
Should I keep talking? Going blah, 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 blah.
He good. Yes, this is good.
Yay!
Well done, everyone. Right. Let's talk about
27 minutes into
furries.
the stream, and we have a stream.
How long is this going to take, Ed? Start us off with my fanfic. So, I'm not going to lie, I'm probably going to do some fanfic. under a pseudonym. I've never explored this kind of world before. I've never been interested in fanfic or anything like this. This is just, it's touched a nerve with me, Dash. I was telling you earlier. It feels very much like me when I was 20 years old. He's a chef. Let's go and have a look at René Loup Arsemont. Actually, let's look at the card first, Dirjel. So, the card is René Loup Arsemont, Party Animal, Identity Gmod.
Stacked.
It's stacked.
Sorry, before we talk about the card text, let's just look at this real like top shelf model of a man. Look at this guy. Look at that chin. Look at those abs.
It's ripped. And apparently it's a Fenris tattoo. Is it not Fenris? Faust tattoo on his chest as well. Could be.
I mean, it's a skull. I guess Faust is a skull.
Yeah.
Skulls all kind of look the same, though. That's the problem with them.
Yeah. Grim in the chat saying, "Guys rotating, someone needs to keep the abs quotient up." Yeah, so card. Identity, Gmod. The first time each turn you trash a card you're accessing, gain one and draw a card. Run wild. Initial thoughts, Dirjel.
So, my initial thoughts are I might import DJ Fenris instead of Scrubber in my as my anti-asset tech in Shaper. Yeah, 'cause I don't play orange.
No.
And no, ever. I don't play. It's against my religion to play orange. Because orange is where all the good cards live, and I hate good cards. So
yeah, that's understandable.
But,
I think that's a good. I
think
we'll see a lot of that. To be honest.
Yeah, I think he's a 40 card ID in Anarch, which there's only like one other one, Nat. But this guy's ability actually makes you win at the game, whereas Nat's ability does not as much.
Yeah.
And I know back in the day, we had a whole bunch of who was the wizard? Wizard used
Yes.
to be really strong back in the day.
Yeah.
And so this guy has a similar. I think Wizard gave you two recurring credits. He was basically a scrubber.
Yeah.
His ID was scrubber, right? He gave you 2 recurring credits to trash cards, 3 recurring credits. I should look that up. I don't actually know what I'm talking about. Actually, I don't need to look it up. Stream chat, tell me. How many credits did Wizard give you?
I'm going to go with 3, but it is before my time. Wiz was 3.
Yeah, Wiz
we've got
was
3.
three,
We've got
two.
2. We've got 3 from Chris. Good evening, Chris. Good evening, Sanjay.
I vote 3 and 2, and we've got 2 other people voting 3, so I think 3. Wizard gives you 3 credits.
Yeah. Under 5 for
Wizard.
sure.
But I think so. So as yeah, he was 3. I looked it up.
Yeah.
So Wizard gave you 3 and was really strong at the time. And Wizard existed, I think, before CTM. Did he rotate before CTM came out, or was he legal at the same
No,
time?
it was legal at the same time. Yeah.
Was he? Yeah. But I think CTM is still like a card in the meta.
Yeah.
If this guy gets to see a lot of play, then my sincerest hope with this guy is that everybody plays him and then nobody plays CTM, and I don't have to play against CTM anymore.
I mean, it certainly there's sort of like, I think you have to assess Loop. We're going to call him Loop, right? Not Arseman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Loop, I think you have to assess in an asset meta, and then outside of that. And I think there are 2 different assessments. Certainly in an asset meta, if it was the meta that's just gone past with the I've forgotten, I've purged it out of my head now, but where everyone was playing RP, a lot of CTM out there as well, decent amount of ASA.
Yeah, RP also.
Yeah. I think he's particularly strong there. But outside of that, so worth noting.
Outside of that,
yeah, I'm not so sure.
I would say even outside of that, I don't think he's terrible, because like every corp out there is going to run NGO and Rashida, and
Sure.
so if you find one of those essentials, you can murder it and immediately get your money back and a card out of it, which is good, because we all hate those cards as runners.
Yeah, very, very, very fair point. Yeah. In the chat, we've got some French going on between Sanjay and Zerath. Le Rumi di Crow Crow. I think as well, as it says in the article, obviously Stargate doesn't trigger the ability, Hippo doesn't trigger the ability.
No.
I presume that the Cutlery won't trigger the ability as well.
None of the basically no ice destruction is going to work. You don't access ice when you trash it.
No, sure.
It's going to be like, by any means. I actually thought about looking it up, but I didn't look it up. I was going to say see what other cards could trigger it. But generally speaking, like, Imp is the way to trash stuff.
Yeah.
Other than paying the trash costs. He also won't work with District 99, so you aren't going to ever put District 99 in a loop deck. But if you do, I'll really be like, you're doing stuff.
Yeah. Looking a bit suspicious there.
Yeah.
So one engine that I've seen is the kind of the Friday chip Imp. A lot of people have been talking about that.
Yeah.
Friday chip. Let's just pull that up. If I was like Andre, I'd have this all up already, but I'm not.
Or what's the other one? What's the? Hang on. The console that gives you a virus every time.
Oh no.
The console it gives you a virus every time you make a successful run.
No, Piero.
S console. Yeah, Knob and Imp together would be good too. You get a guaranteed trash every time, a guaranteed free trash every time you hit a server, and
and then
first time you make a successful run, you turn and get a virus counter. and then you get to trash the thing, and you get a credit and a card. Basically, this says the first time you make a successful run each turn, gain a credit, trash the thing for free, gain a credit, and draw a card, which is a pretty good engine, I think.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. Good evening, SCD. Good evening. So I think I don't know. So my second phase of the assessment is I think Loop's quite good. Are you playing Loop over Freedom or Hoshiko? In a standard meta, not in one where everything's gone sideways, literally.
I think it depends. In a standard, I mean, you say standard meta, but I think assets are part of a standard meta too, right?
For sure.
But I think right now I think Stargate is the strongest card in the card pool right now on the runner side of the table,
Sure.
and it does not work with Loop at all.
No.
So I think the knob plus whatever. I think like the imp knob loop combo
Mm-hmm.
is a formidable engine. You gotta see what else you're gonna put in that mem. I mean, it gives you knob also gives you 3 mem, right?
Yeah.
Is it only for
Virus
knob
programs.
for viruses? So you get 3 viruses. So like you could do like data suckers in there and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe some chisels and do some ice destruction on him. I think that could work. But when you look at like doing, you could also run because we run what's Freedom's fractor that is the fractor that Freedom runs?
Yusuf. Yusuf.
Yeah, Yusuf. So, but if you're running knob in this guy,
Yeah.
you could run Yusuf because Yusuf takes two mu, but it's a virus, so it'll just sit in the knob mu. And you could run you'd have enough mem to still run like Rizeki's in there too. I think he could be a really good like constant pressure runner. He's making a run every turn, trashing stuff, and then getting that money and card for doing that every run. He could be a really aggressive runner.
Yeah. And in the chat as well, yeah, consume in that rig as well.
Oh yeah, throw a consume in there.
Yeah. So essentially, we're going down the freedom list, aren't we? But just extra trashy. Yeah. When it consume, whenever you trash a corp card, you may place 1 virus counter on consume. This is okay. Looks quite good suddenly, doesn't it? You're charging up your imps. Yeah. You're generating counters with Nokieri. Yusuf's breaking through. Don't need freedom if you're infinite imping. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and that's what I think. I think this guy could actually just be better than freedom, if you can get the rig set up. But he's only a 40 card deck, right? So it's easier to find those key cards and get them on the table.
Yeah.
Like people played Nat because again, we all know Anarch has lots of good cards, right? Yeah. So Nat being a 40 card ID, people played him as a blank ID just because he was only a 40 card ID. So playing this guy, Loop, as a 40 card ID, and just basically doing freedom -5 cards, you're gonna get you're still gonna do your infinite imp stuff, so you can trash a card every turn. But then you're also gonna get your dollar and your credit every time, so you can just keep on hitting those servers over and over and over again, just pressure everything.
Yeah. And Grim in the chat. Grim in the chat saying, and that's something I was going to move on to, multi-access. So jailbreak, sick in Loop, you get an extra chance to draw a good card to trash, and you get an extra draw. Extra chance to get a good card to trash, and the extra draw as well. Yeah. Yeah, even stuff like R&D interface or HQI or something like that. Seeing 2 cards, you're giving yourself a little bit of options there on what you're trashing.
We're probably agreeing all that HQI and R&DI are not coming back, right?
It's possible. Unsure.
I think
Unconfirmed.
somebody in GLC said that in the spoilers chat, they're like, with the new interface keyword, that I think that's a really strong argument just by itself that HQ interface and R&D interface are going to go away.
Yeah, that's a very fair point, actually, yeah. Hadn't thought of that. I didn't notice that comment. There we go. Another thing in this article, it says, in the new standard, Loop's console is one of the premier ways to trigger his ability. I personally think that this console will be meta-defining due to its utility against a wide
I read that
range of
line.
archetypes. Now, meta-defining,
Yeah,
it's a strong phrase. It's a strong phrase. We're not talking this is a decent console.
It got my my shaper pride all bent out of shape when I read that. Like, come on, guys, you're gonna give Anarch another meta-defining console? They already have Turntable and Patchwork and like Knob here. Every one of their consoles is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know why that's the case, because Shaper really should be the home of the good consoles, shouldn't it? More fitting and more in keeping. But what was your thoughts on Pantograph? I know you're a big Shaper fan. Yeah. And Tau?
Yeah. It's so Pantograph is only $2 on the table, and it gives you a pretty decent ability. It's no logos, but it's still a good trigger.
Yeah.
Being able to be fake Haley for a minute and drop something out of your table, out of your hand. It's just the chat. Anarchs wouldn't even line their litter boxes with it, and I think that's true. And that's how I feel being a shaper all the time. Is like, man, this is one of these factions is definitely the faction that wins games.
I'll put my pen down now. I've stopped clicking my pen. Apologies for that.
No.
Yeah, but so let's talk a bit Shaper. Where do you think Shaper's lacking at the moment? What would you like to see over the coming weeks for Shaper? What cards would you like to see come back in System Update?
I want, I mean, of all the green stuff that's rotated, I want Workshop back, but that's not going to happen because we have Cafe.
Yeah.
And Cafe is just not as good as Workshop was. I think Tao and his console together are interesting, but it's there's no way for you to trigger that on your side of the table. So since you can't control those triggers, it's hard to make the decision on how long to hold certain cards and drop them versus playing them right away.
Yeah.
Like, I think like an easy thing to hold in your hand would be like you keep a daily in your hand to drop it when it's ready. But
a daily cast in the hand is not a daily cast in the hand is not generating you 2 credits at the start of turn though, and I think there's a danger that when you start to try and play around something that Corp's going to do, you end up just slowing yourself down, and the benefit, and they balance each other out. Algebraic
and I think comparing Tao and Leela, Leela usually wants to when the corpse scores an ice, they peel off a critical piece of ice and then just hammer that server and get as many agendas as they can and just demolish the corpse board state. Tao doesn't do that. He just moves ice he moves ice around instead of balancing it.
Yeah.
And it's useful. It's a good way to kind of uh, like stack the deck in your favor a little bit, but it doesn't give you the same kind of like 1-2 punch with Leela where you just keep on you punch them and then just keep kicking them when they're down.
Yeah.
Tao is more like Tao's ability is almost more of a lose the game less, whereas Leela's is a win the game more.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, to be fair. I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, it's more lose less than win more. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, which you know, because you're still gonna have to get through that ice.
Question in the chat.
Maltao combat.
Yeah, Maltao combat. More. It was more Tau combat. Yeah. Question in the chat. Do you think Gateway will have ice destruction? I think there's a good chance. I don't know about you, but
I would be surprised if there's no ice destruction at all in it.
Yeah.
Although one thing to consider is that this is supposed to be a new player product.
Yeah.
I think putting ice destruction in might lead to confusion in newer players with Loop here, because Loop is only draw a card and gain a credit when you trash an accessed card, and that's a kind of a finer distinction that a newer player might not pick up on right away. If they put ice destruction in, they'll look at this Loop guy and be like, oh, every time you trash a card, gain a credit and draw a card, I need to put all the ice destruction in this guy, and that doesn't actually work.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I suppose it asks the question: will the play guide, when you buy Gateway, how will that explain potential difficulties and interactions and stuff like that? There's a Reddit comment from Spencer saying they're very careful with the phrasing. So I think it's possible that there's going to be some kind of game. Let's walk through a game, and here's what works and what doesn't. That'd be interesting to see, for sure.
Yeah. I think. So, looking at what they've got for their learning decks, they got the 2 neutral IDs and they're going to be 40 card decks, and there's no influence or anything. It's just a stack of good cards across all factions.
Yeah.
That's the same kind of philosophy I had with my learning decks that I built and was sharing with people. And I feel like ice destruction is a really cool facet of Netrunner, and having that ability in those introductory decks really gives people more of a sense of what this game is, what this it's not just Math Runner where you say I have 6 credits, this server is going to take 4 to get through, so I can run this server. But there's a lot more of kind of additional interactions that you can do beyond just make, run, break, ice, access server.
Sure.
I think those kinds of abilities are really important to when you're introducing new players to the game.
Absolutely, much the same as traps are important. I think in beginner decks or beginner sets, it's important. Show you the dangers of what's behind this ice.
When I first started playing the game, I looked at Junebug and my mind was blown. I'm like, what? You can advance this thing. It's not even an agenda. You can advance it and then kill the runner if they touch it. This is amazing. And I was looking at my brother, and neither one of us knew how to play the game at all. We were just reading the instructions and going through the cards. And because neither one of us knew how to play the game, we didn't know how to advance stuff efficiently. So we had no idea, is this an agenda or a Junebug? I don't know. He advanced it once 3 turns ago, and again this turn. Maybe.
Well, I'm not ashamed to say that I played a teaching game last night, quite late, and I died to Junebug last night in a teaching game.
Nice.
So yeah, it still happens. So that was my saltiest loss at Worlds as well. Was running into a Junebug in the deck that I built.
I bet you the person you're teaching the game, they were thrilled to kill you with a Junebug.
Absolutely. Yeah, no. Just before we wrap up for tonight or for this afternoon, changes over at GLC in the future, is there anything we could maybe, I say reveal, but maybe just talk a little bit about potential changes on the server?
I have no idea, fellow admin. Fellow admin, you tell me what changes we have coming up.
Well, really, no. We've spoken about it. Don't make me look bad. We have looked at getting Discord affiliate status, which fingers crossed we'll be getting, which is really great.
Oh yeah. That'd be cool.
So, Dirjel, we had a conversation a few weeks ago, and we were talking about the server, and you said you want it to be like a game like a LFGS, your local friendly game store. So really, we're looking for kind of ideas and feedback. We have got a channel on the Discord server, feedback. I put a post in there a couple of days ago. We're sort of happy if there's a demand for something from a lot of people. We're happy to create a channel. We've got drafts going on over there, and really just over the next few weeks, we're looking at just making it even more user friendly than it was before.
Yeah, that's one of my when I first helped build out that mod team. I was really trying to. People were like, just make whatever mod you want to your server. It's not I want GLC isn't my server. GLC is a community space. It belongs to everybody who uses it, and I want us all I want everyone who uses GLC to be able to make the space their own. We just stood up the community events channel, where you can, Spray is doing his campaigns card pool where he wants to let people play the terminal directive and 4-set only.
Yeah.
He wanted us to build a tag for it, but we instead built this framework where he claimed the red circle, and so people can just grab that red circle role, and you can build your own formats, you can create your own events, and we give you these tools so you can organize with your players.
Yeah.
And I'm always trying to make sure that the community is involved in any changes we make. We have feedback. We have opportunities for you to tell us what you want to see. I really want GLC to be a place that everyone who participates feels like they have ownership in it.
Yeah, I think that's very important for both of us. And just going back onto those buttons that we made, if you wanted to run an auction draft, or you wanted to run, as I said, a cooking competition, run a cooking competition, who'd do that? You can grab a button, other people can grab a button, and they'll all get pinged for it, and come over if you want to organise an event. I'm more than happy to have you. Isn't that right?
Yeah, of course. It's a space for all Netrunner community. Everyone who plays Netrunner, thinks about Netrunner, talks about Netrunner. We want you to be here, and we want you we want to make the space so that you can do what you need to do about Netrunner.
For sure. So, does that mean I've got permission to open a fanfic channel on there?
You have permissions to do whatever you want. I also have permission to ban you whenever I want.
Content warning. Very, very content warning. Thanks ever so much for joining me today, Josh. It's always a pleasure talking to you, mate.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm going to go write a story. Thanks everyone for joining today. Remember the competition, I say it every time, but I've had a few entries now. I've got enough entries now to fill all the prizes as a minimum, and which is great. Tomorrow we've got a very special guest on. I'll spoil it now. We've got Spencer coming in, telling us about what it was like to edit not just one but two of my articles. Spoiler alert, traumatic. So tune in for that tomorrow. Until then, take care everyone. Good night.
Bye.